In today's session, we're going to be talking about DoS attacks, right? And looking at the example of a Syn flood. So what is a DoS attack? Firstly, DoS stands for denial of service. And essentially what you're trying to do here is you're exhausting a server so that it cannot service anything else. Like for example, it becomes too busy and it no longer is able to service any other requests. So in this example, there are three types of DoS attacks, right? There's the volumetric one, which is where it is sending an extensive amount of connections to the web server that is becoming overwhelmed, okay? The next one is the protocol-based DoS attacks, and in this instance, you're exhausting the resources of essentially network infrastructure devices, right? And then the final type of DoS attack is whereby it's happening at the layer 7 application level, where you're exhausting the web server or the application, you're exhausting that memory, that disk space, so it can no longer function properly or service any additional connections and requests, right? So let's look at an example here, right? So let's look at an example of a Syn flood type of one. So what will happen is, let's say the device here is compromised, and what will basically happen is a number of Syn packets will be sent to the web server, okay? Now, the whole purpose is the web server is obviously going to be sending back Syn ACK packets, okay? But what's happening is each time a Syn packet comes into the web server, an open connection, it's an open port. So it's holding resources in memory and basically it's waiting for that connection. So what we're really doing with the Syn flood attack is we're flooding the web server with an extensive amount of Syn packets so that we're filling up its resource capacity, we're exhausting its resource capacity so that it can no longer service any more new connection. And eventually what will happen is the web server will come to a halt, right? So that's what we're doing here with a Syn flood DoS attack. Now, you may have noticed the terminology of using a DDoS. So what we're simply doing here is we're putting the letter D in front of DOS. And what that basically means is that it's a distributed DoS attack. And the main difference here is, imagine on this side, we have more devices, okay? And the distributed DoS attack means basically instead of one device being compromised or the origin, the source of that Syn flood coming in from one source, is coming from multiple sources. So we're also coming it from here as well and from here as well. And that's what the distributed aspect, the DoS attack, is distributed in its nature. Thank you.